My name is Redanis Bryan from the west side of Atlanta. Growing up in the hood, I remember that my father, we came out on the porch one day. As we come out on the porch, it was drug dealers on the corner, prostitutes on the corner. I even remember it was homosexuals on the corner. My father looked at me and he looked me in my eyes and he said, "Son, when you grow up, I don't want you to be like any of those people." And I looked at him and I was like, "Sure, Dad, I'll never be like them." But a couple of years went past and I was just like one of those out of the three. I became a drug dealer. I learned a very valuable lesson. I learned that in the hood, it was either eat or you get eaten. So I adopted the rule early on in life that I would eat. I wanted to get full. So as I started selling drugs, I learned that every day something different occurred. Either I was running from the police, either I was shot or getting shot at, either I was trying to chase girls in the club, fast money, cars, and clothes. And every day was a new lesson. The lesson that I learned was you have to be the best person that you can be, because no matter what, it's all that you have. Your name is everything in the hood. People call me Dunny for the money back then. So I was like, Dunny for the money? How did you acquire that name? Well, I acquired the name Dunny for the money because that's what my life consisted of. I only chased money. Whether it was selling drugs, whether it was hustling on the corner, robbing, whatever I had to do to get the money, that's what I did. But then I began to grow and mature. The hood had a strange way of breaking you or building you. Now, I know a lot of people that the hood broke. I seen mothers walk around barefooted with no shoes on. I've seen fathers leave their kids and didn't care about them because they smoked crack. I seen people die in the very streets that I lived on. But it was something about the streets that I loved. I didn't want to walk away from them because I had this strange thought that the street loved me the same way that I love the street. My neighborhood was so powerful and influential on my life that I understand what it means to become a product of your environment. I actually became those same very people that I was around. I began to tap my body with my neighborhood. I love my neighborhood so much that everywhere I go, I would do what they call repping it. Yeah, shot, I'm from the west side of Atlanta, man. Simpson Road, Bankhead, the Bluff. And people would see me and they would relate to that. No matter what side of town they was from, they would say, "Oh yeah, they shot it from the west side right there. Oh yeah, that's Dunny for the money." Was I being my authentic self? Well, I was being the creative person that I was. I growed up, one way in the church. I grew up, my mom taught me principles, morals, values, and standards. My father instilled the work ethic into me. But I shied away from that stuff because I was like, hey, I love the streets. But then I knew it was a story that I'm reminded of that my father told me. He said, there was a man that lived in Africa. And this man had a farm, right? And on the farm, he had many animals and very, very much land. Well, this guy heard that, hey, there's people finding gold in a whole nother region. So what he did was he uprooted himself, sold his property, and he went off in search of gold. Well, as the story went, he went looking for gold, but he never found any. And in a fit of rage one day, he killed himself, commit suicide. Well, the guy that he sold his farm to was out just tending to the sheep and the animals on the farm, and he stepped over a stream because there was a stream that ran through the farm. And as he stepped over the stream, he just seen a big old rock. He picked it up, said, "This is a very nice rock." He took it home and he put it on his mantle. Well, his neighbor came over and his neighbor said, "Hey, that's a very, very nice rock. Do you mind if I touch it?" He said, "Sure, go ahead. I got plenty of those rocks out in my stream." Well, the neighbor picked it up. He said, "Man, I want to take this rock with me, man, and just get it checked out." He said, "Go ahead, man." He took it and got it checked out. And the next day he came back, he said, "Man, do you know this is a diamond?" He said, "Man, I have plenty of those in my stream." And the point and the moral of this story is that you have to recognize a diamond in the rough. Sometimes we don't recognize who we are in our natural state. Sometimes you have to polish it up or polish yourself up. When I say polish yourself up, I mean that no matter what neighborhood or environment you come from, you have to learn how to elevate and mature yourself. I did this through reading, through meditating, through praying, through fasting, through exercising mentally, physically, and spiritually. And guess what? It made me into a better person. Now, my new polished self, I recognize myself as a black diamond, a rare form of a diamond. I'm not just average. I'm above average. See, the thing that I love about diamonds are a dirty piece of coal, right? When it's put up under pressure, and this pressure, what it does is it forms the rarest form of a diamond, a black diamond. So on today, I question myself to say, hey, if I wouldn't been from that neighborhood, who would I be today? Well, the neighborhood that I'm from, the west side of Atlanta, when I go back through there now, I look at it, houses have been torn down, there's abandoned houses, I'm talking about, but then also on this same very street, in this same very neighborhood, now they're building, right? They're building, you got $500,000 homes in this neighborhood now. You have lofts, you have condos, you know, the demographic has changed. You know, now you have different nationalities. You have people that are European, you have, you know, Asians, you have African Americans, you have more people now in this neighborhood than when I growed up. But the one thing that I do recognize about my neighborhood is that it's still the same neighborhood. That energy, that hopelessness, when I ride through there, I see it. I see it so much so that I wonder, what can I do to help those people in that neighborhood? Why? Because this is the same very neighborhood that I grew up in. This is the neighborhood that my house was there for millions of generations. I grew up in that house. My father grew up in that house. His mother grew up in that house. And you know what? Because of the environment and the activities that I was in, I lost the house that I own. How did I lose the house? Well, I lost the house because I got incarcerated, right? My father was deceased. So the house that I own, I began to rent it out to one of my homies, you know, and he was selling drugs out of the house. The house get busted. And I said, well, hey, I could have lost it when the house got busted, but I said, since I didn't lose it, now I'm going to no longer rent this house to people who are going to sell drugs out of my home. But I'm incarcerated at this time, so the house had no one in it. It was abandoned. Well, be it that it was abandoned, squatters came in. Oh, man, when the squatters came in, they began to sit in the house, you know, do drugs in the house. And before you know it, my house got burnt down. Well, I didn't even have insurance on the house because guess what? I'm in prison and, you know, I'm like, man, this money could go to this. I got things I got to take care of. So I'm like, man, there's one bill I could just cancel. Never thinking of what could potentially happen. What lesson did I learn from that? Well, I learned that you always have to be prepared. I learned that you can never take anything for granted. I learned that every day you have to be planning. Every step must be a calculated step. I can't say, well, hey, don't worry about tomorrow and just worry about today. No, think about today, live today, but also prepare for tomorrow. I'm not asking you to worry about tomorrow, but I need you to prepare for tomorrow, the next day, and the next day. And so that's the lesson that I learned, because I learned that I need to pay attention to the fine detail. You know, I learned that no matter what situations occur, you got to have solutions for your problem. How do you come up with these solutions? Well, my daddy always told me to pay attention to the small things, because the small things grow into big things. So the foundation is what must be built, as we're doing now. In my neighborhood, there are buildings that are being established, right? The west side of Atlanta are building, it's a Mercedes-Benz dome now. You know, it used to be the Georgia Dome. Now, dome ain't got no roof. Yeah, it's becoming, right? Michelle Obama, she wrote a book called The Becoming, because that's what life is all about. Life is all about becoming. I once was a drug dealer. I went to prison. Before I was a drug dealer, I just was a child. You know, as all of us, we came, we went, and we shall go. That's the process of life. Everybody that's born is going to get sick and they're going to die. How do your neighborhood affect you? Are you one that's living in a neighborhood that if you live there, you become what's there? Or are you one that you can change your environment? Me, I want the lesson for this whole message to be, no matter what neighborhood you in, do not let your neighborhood impact you. You impact your neighborhood. You impact your environment. Wherever you are, whoever you are, understand that a neighborhood is just a neighborhood. You are great. So be who you are, love who you are, appreciate who you are. 1 minute.